So, hello. Well, first things first, how are y'all doing? I'm going to make a rum cake in the Bundt pan. First, let's get some spray. Spray it down. Alright, so I'm going to use some baking spray. Well, that's if it comes out. Hold on. It doesn't look like it's coming out, y'all. Alright, so let's try this other one real quick. I don't think this is going to come out either, but we'll find out in a minute. Somewhat. Wait, hold on. We getting somewhere. Alright, so yeah, always spray your pans. Sometimes it tells you not to, but yeah, in this case I would. Guess what needs to go on my store list? Alright, so let's get the bowl, get the stuff ready. First things first, we're going to get this cake mix. Yellow cake mix. Give me a second because it takes me a minute to open it. Alright, then we're going to get some pudding mix. Let's cut this open. Let's move this pan out the way that it's going to go in. Y'all want to say, oops, my fault, y'all. Alright, so we're going to dump the pudding mix in here. Hold on. I'm having a heck of a time. And hold on one second. Alright, go ahead and dump the cake mix into here. And let's crack some eggs. By the way, you need 4 eggs for this. I'm going to crack it in here. That way if the shells come out, they'll come out in here and I can just grab it on out. So give me a second to do that. Preheat your oven 325. Alright, so I was cracking the 1 egg and the shell did get in here, but I got it out. Let's get this other egg cracked. It takes 4 eggs, by the way. Also, I'm going to put a little flour in that pan. That way it don't stick. Again, this is rum cake. Oh, see? Got a shell. Got to get these shells out. That's why I didn't do it in the cake mix. Let me get a spoon. Alright, y'all. Let's take this shell out of here. It's a big one and a small one. And then I already preheated my oven, as you can tell. Hold on. Eee. That's why I did it in here, so it wouldn't go in the cake, y'all. Alright, one more little piece, it looks like. Sometimes I can do it without. I can't wait to get my hand surgery on Wednesday. I most likely won't be on TikTok because I'll be too far out of it. Alright, let's add these 4 eggs. Alright, let's add a half a cup of oil. Now, as many times as I made this cake, I'm going to tell you one thing that I do when I make it. Rum goes on top of it after I melt some butter and sugar and stuff, but rum goes in it. I'm going to let you know now, it's going to be a little bit more rum in here than what it says for a half a cup. Half a cup of oil. And a half a cup of water, so hold on. And no, I'm not getting a new one just for this. I will for my rum, but I'm not for this. Not for the oil and water. That's a half a cup of water. Let's go ahead and get me a half a cup of rum, which, like I said, I'm going to be adding more to it. Hold on one second. Alright, just in case you're wondering, this is the rum. Spice rum, baby. Oh, look at it. Splatter, splatter. Well, like I said, we're going to add some more to it. Alright, hold on. Let me get my mixer plugged in. Let's mix it. Alright, let's go ahead and mix this bad boy. So it's nice and mixed. Let me get the pan for it. I don't have flour. I can't flour the pan. Hopefully it still works out. Alright, y'all. Let's get this in here and get it baking. It's going to take a good minute. So like I said, normally I would flour the pan on this type of cake and my other cakes. But My daughter didn't tell me she used all the flour. If you would think she would. Hold on now, I gotta get a scraper. You would think she would tell me that. Let's get this out and get it in. And yes, I do plan to lick the batter. Because I already know it's going to be good. Alright. That's how we're looking. I'll show you when it's done. Bye.